Welcome to this tutorial that looks at how to manipulate images and photos before you use them in your website. Let's look at an example. I've got an image here. I'll open it up. This particular image you can see here of a boy wearing a fireman hat has a particular width and a particular height. Now if I hover here, you may be able to see that this image is 3,264 pixels wide, and if I just look at some of the information here, 3,264 pixels wide and 2,448 pixels high. Now you might remember from a previous tutorial that this is in fact a very large image, far too large to be using on your website. You need to make the image smaller, and we've talked about resizing before. If you have a look here, you'll see that this image is actually being shown at 24% of its real size. If I bring it to its real size, you'll see it's enormous. It's a much too big photo to use on your website. So what we want to do is we actually want to, first of all, resize it. So let's get it to a usable size. There's different ways you can do this. You can do this in your Elastic software. We've covered this in a previous tutorial, so we won't cover it again here. But we're going to make this image 667 by 500 pixels. So 667 pixels wide and 500 pixels high. This image is exactly the same as the previous image. It's just smaller. I can show you that in a little more detail here. I'll just bring this back to a smaller size so we can see it on the screen, 12%. So we're showing this at 12% of its real size. It's 3,264 pixels wide and 2,448 pixels high. If I bring the calculator out, and I can do a simple calculation here, 3,264 divided by 2,448 pixels. Now we get an answer of 1.3 recurring, 1.33333. That number shows a relationship between the width and the height of this image of 1.3 recurring. If I resize this image, and when I resize it, I'm going to make it 667 pixels by 500 pixels, so 667 wide, 500 pixels high. I'll put that back to 100%. Now you'll remember that ratio of width to height before was 1.3 recurring. Let's try it again now. I've got my calculator. Now it's 667 pixels wide divided by 500 pixels equals 1.334. It's been rounded there, but essentially it's 1.3 recurring, 1.33333. So the ratio of width to height is identical now as what it was before. This is exactly the same image, it's just smaller. We've got a problem. We don't want this guy here. Okay? We want to get rid of him. And one of the ways you get rid of him is through cropping the image. Now, I would always recommend cropping the image before you upload it to the server. So if you've got Photoshop, or in this case I'm using Microsoft Office Picture Manager, you find that by going Start, this is on a Windows computer, Start, All Programs, find Microsoft Office, go to Microsoft Office Tools, and it's just there, Microsoft Office Picture Manager. A very simple, easy to use piece of software that allows you to do some basic image editing. So what I'm going to do, I'll click Edit Images, and I'm going to crop this particular image like that. If I do that, there we go. I've gotten rid of the guy in blue on the side. I've cropped the image. I've chopped the left edge of the image off. But if I do the calculation now of 472 width divided by 500 pixels high, you'll see the number is 0.944. It's very different. That means this is not the same shape image as the previous image. This image is almost a square, whereas the other image was a rectangle. We have a different image. And this is really important. One of the best things you can do with your web designs is make sure that the width and height of your images are all the same. If they're the same, they'll look professional. If you've got one wide image, one skinny image, one tall image, one short image, your website will look a bit average. So try and get all of your images to look the same. We can crop images like this in your Elastic website. Let me just do that for a moment. Let me just undo what I've done here. I'll save this image. Call it boy.jpg, JPEG being a image file format. There's my picture there. Let's go to an Elastic website. We'll go to the dashboard. Now I'm going to go to Media and Images here. And I'm going to upload to, let's say, Images. I'm going to upload the picture of the boy. Click Select Images. I'll go to my desktop, that's where the picture is. Find the picture called boy.jpg. And we're going to open it up and upload it to the server. There we go. So there's the picture. It's uploaded to the server. If I go back to Images and I open the album for images in this case, we'll find the picture of the boy. He'll be there. There he is there. Now you can see here, again, the width is 667 pixels by 500 pixels. If I click on Edit, I can crop this image within the browser here. So there's the man in blue. We don't want him. So using this cross that you can see on the screen here, I'm going to hold the left mouse button down and I'm going to drag and I'm going to create the area that I want to crop. I can adjust this afterwards using the toggles here, and I want to make sure I get as much as I can. You can see his shoe there, so I'm not going to include his shoe. Come down, drag across. Okay, now what I've done is I have highlighted a particular area. You'll see as I move the crop markers down here under crop settings, it tells you what the new size of the image is going to be. 498 by 325, move that down. Now it's 498 by 500, move it across. Let's try and get it as an exact square. There we go. Alright, so now the image is 500 by 500. I've used the feature in Elastic to be able to crop this particular image and get rid of the guy in the blue. If I tick Keep Original Image, it means your original photo won't be destroyed. If I don't tick that, the original photo will be lost and you'll have a new cropped image. If you're going to do lots of different croppings, tick that and keep your original image. Or if you're just not sure, tick it and keep it. I'm going to click the crop image button and we'll see what happens here. There we go. Here's my new image. You can see it's been cropped. The man in blue here has disappeared. Here's our new proportions, 500 by 500. And that's the job done. That's the image cropped. Let's go and look at the two images because I saved that other image. You can see, here's my original image with the man in blue. Here's my new cropped image. The man in blue has been chopped off. He's gone. And I can now use either of these photos in my website. If you really want to do a professional job, I highly recommend getting Adobe Photoshop. And I'll show you why Adobe Photoshop is really a fantastic tool for cropping. First of all, you can start with a new image. I can specify the width and the height before I start. And I'm going to make my image 500 pixels wide, 500 pixels high. So here's my canvas, 500 by 500. What I can do in Photoshop is go File, Place, and I can find a picture. I'm going to find the picture of the boy that I had a moment ago. There's the original there. Let's double click, open it up. Alright. If I click this little chain here, this keeps the picture proportional. There we go. Stretch it, cover the whole canvas. And now I'm going to move the image, get rid of the guy in blue. There we go. Okay, So this is a 500 by 500 pixel image, and here's my photo. Where Photoshop is great is I might want to add another photo. Let me go File, Place. Let's find another photo that I can use. Let's see if we got one here. Yes, now I've got this one of the boy with Usain Bolt. There we go. I'm going to click the chain there to keep it proportional. And what I want to do is produce two pictures, one of Usain Bolt and one of the little boy. Alright, great. So what I've been able to produce here is a picture of Usain Bolt, and underneath is a picture of the little boy. Both of these pictures are exactly the same size. So if you're creating a header image or any other image that you want to be the same size, in Photoshop what you can do is set up a standard picture size and then place as many pictures as you like on top. You can see them over here. Here's the two pictures. And then when it's time to create these images for your website, you go File, Save for Web and Devices, pick the picture format you want here, go Save. It'll create a picture that's 500 by 500. Then change it to that, go File, Save for Web and Devices, and 500 by 500. So that way you can set up a standard size and just place your pictures, bring them to fill the whole screen, and you can crop them as you need. So let's do that for these two images here. So we've got Usain Bolt and the boy. File, Save for Web and Devices. I'm going to make it a JPEG image, 500 by 500. I don't want it to be maximum, I want it to be medium in its quality. Go Save, Desktop, and I'll call this one Picture 1, or it's better to use a Runner 1. Okay, so that's that picture. Save, great. Use the little eye on Photoshop to turn that off. Go File, Save for Web and Devices, Save. Now I'll call this one Little. Great, okay. So I've saved two images now, Little and Runner, and I know that they are both exactly the same size, 500 pixels by 500 pixels. Let me come here, I'm going to upload them now to my server. I'm going to add the two images. I'm going to add, there's Runner. Now in a Windows computer you can just hold the control button down and click, and there's Little. Let's upload Little and Runner, both 500 pixels by 500 pixels. I'll go to my page, and actually let me add these as a header image. Why not? Let's try that. So here's our header images. I'm going to turn all of these ones off scroll and save. And I'm going to add two new header images. I'm going to call this one Runner, and select our Runner. This one I'll call Little, and select that image Little. Okay, let that upload, and now I have my two header images. If we look at these two header images, you can see here 500 by 500. This one is 500 by 500, so both of these images are identical in size. I want to tick the scroll button here because I want these images to be part of my scrolling header. I'll save that. Okay, that's saved. Great. Now, when I go to my home page, you'll notice that something happens here. Now, my page is bigger than 500 pixels. That's why this image is only showing here, because it's wider. But what you'll notice is as the transition occurs, you'll see that because the two pictures are exactly the same size, they transition perfectly on top of each other. If they were different widths, they would look different and they wouldn't look right. In fact, it would look very unprofessional. You want your images to be exactly the same size. Good luck, have a go, and send us any feedback if you're having trouble cropping and resizing your images.